One thing we know for sure is the Sony a7 IV is on the way. We need to talk about this. Let's go. So what up, y'all? It's Tyser Tier Wolf, and I'm back for another video. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Remember to be thankful for your freaking life today because you did not have to have that on with the meat and potatoes. It ain't no secret that the Sony a7 IV is coming. A7 IV is coming, okay? It's at the end of its life cycle, right? And it's due for an upgrade, and the rumors and stuff are starting to leak everywhere. So I'm not the only one with this information. I don't have the camera. I don't know anything about the camera other than what's being posted online. So I know y'all gonna be in the comments like, oh, Terry got the camera already. I wish, okay? Anyways, I want to start off by saying this. I still think in 2024, going into 2025, the a7 IV is an incredible camera. I love that camera. In fact, I have a sweet spot for it, although I got rid of it for the Sony a7R5. Now, the reason why I brought this up, by the way, this is a Condor Blue sensor cap. Y'all always ask me about these. The link will be in the description. These are way better than the caps that come with the cameras. But the reason I brought this along today is because I believe Sony is going to take a whole lot of what's in the a7R5 and put it into the a7 IV. The other thing I want to say, I touch a whole lot of cameras. I use a whole lot of cameras. I love cameras. I'm not specific or exclusive to any one camera brand. I use whatever I freaking like to use. So right here on the desk, I have 3 of my cameras, and I got more in the closet, but I'm bringing these out for a reason. The Lumix S5 Mark II, a fantastic value of a camera, very capable. The Nikon ZF, which I absolutely adore. This camera is so fire. The Lumix S9, which I absolutely adore. Okay, so I brought these other cameras out for a reason. All of these are full frame cameras around the $2,000-ish price point. Now, what I didn't bring is the Nikon Z6 Mark III because I don't have one. However, I know people with it, and I know that they are really pushing the boundaries of what a full frame camera around the $2,500 price point should be. I'll bring that back around full circle. Now, let's go back to the a7 IV. It's still a fantastic camera. It's still a very, very capable camera. Is it being left behind by the competition? Yes, but that's also why there's a new one coming. It's got a great sensor in there. It's got great image quality. It does 4K 60, albeit with a crop. It's got great battery life, dual card slots, USB streaming, like all of this stuff. You know, it's still a fantastic camera. However, there were some things that I really could not stand about it. I want to talk about some of the things that Sony, in my opinion, needs to do to be competitive, because all of these camera companies right now are bringing the heat around the $2,000, $2,500-ish price point, okay? The first and biggest problem with the Sony a7 IV is the overheating. Now, I didn't have a whole lot of overheating problems with it, but I know people who do have overheating problems with it, and it's a big deal. I brought the Lumix S5 Mark II because this camera is about the same size as the Sony a7 IV. It's got a built-in fan. Now, I don't expect Sony to do that, but what I do expect them to do is take the same body that the a7R5 has, the Sony a7S III, and its heat dissipation, you know, pathways that it has in there to alleviate some of the heat that gets built up in that camera. The second thing that is hugely wrong with the a7 IV is the sensor, and that's a good and a bad thing, because the sensor, when it comes to image quality, is freaking amazing. Like 33 megapixels, in my opinion, is the sweet spot. I'm not mad if they don't increase the megapixels in the a7 IV. However, what they need to do is increase the readout speed somehow. I don't know how y'all gonna do it, Sony. Y'all got global shutters and all that stuff now. I don't expect them to put that in the a7 IV, but my point is you can't bring another slow readout sensor going into 2025. You want to know why? Because the Nikon Z6 Mark III has a half stack sensor. So y'all have to figure something out to get rid of this rolling shutter with the a7 IV. The other part of this equation is the fact that there is a 4K 60 1.5 times crop, and I've brought this up 1,000 times, and I'm gonna bring it up again. If the a7 IV had a faster sensor, then it wouldn't have to crop in 1.5 times to give us line by line readout 4K 60. Now, there's solutions to this, right? I wouldn't be mad if they came out with a, let's just say, a line skipped full frame 4K 60 or pixel bend full frame 4K 60. However, Sony, again, just give us a faster sensor and faster throughput chain to be able to handle full frame 4K 60, because one of the biggest pain points using a7 IV is going from 4K 24, 4K 30, which are full readout, to a 1.5 times crop in 4K 60. Now, all of these other consumer cameras around the price point also have cropped 4K 60, but we're talking about the evolution of the A7 IV, the next version. Sony, we cannot have another 4K 60 crop. Just don't do it. I don't think the A7 IV is gonna have 4K 120. If it does, it's a bonus, and that will probably be cropped if it is, you know, a thing that they're gonna do. But I'm not expecting it. I will be okay with a full frame 10-bit full readout 4K 60 without a crop. The next thing that I really think needs to be updated on the A7 IV is the autofocus, which I already know they're going to because they put the newest, latest, and greatest AI chip stuff in the new cameras that they dropped. So I fully expect the A7 V to have all of the latest and greatest autofocus out of the Sony a7R V, the ZV-E1, the a6700, so on and so forth. So I'm not worried that they're not going to do that because I know that they will. However, what I do want them to do is put the same stabilization that the Sony a7R V has in the A7 V. This camera has some of the best stabilization I've ever used on the camera. Now, the ZV-E1 that I'm also using right now has fantastic stabilization. However, you have to go into dynamic mode, which cost us a 30% crop. The A7R V's stabilization without the 30% crop, without needing a dynamic mode, is just so good. It's 8 stops of in-body image stabilization, and the A7 V needs that. You want to know why? Because you got amazing stabilization at $2,000 with the Lumix S5 Mark II X and with the Nikon ZF and the Lumix S9. All of these mid-tier full-frame cameras now have better stabilization than the Sony a7 IV does. The next thing that I really want them to change is this rear display on the a7 IV. The EVF I'm okay with. It's a 3.69 million dot EVF. Okay, for the $2,000, $2,500-ish price point, that's pretty par for the course. That's what all of these cameras have. I'm not mad at it, but the rear display, Sony, we need a higher resolution rear display. Also, I would love to see the flippy, you know, cartwheel rotating screen that the a7R V has on the a7 V. Maybe that's unrealistic at the price point, but Sony, we would love to see it. Obviously, I'm not sitting here going over every single little thing because we already know Sony is going to bring the a7 V up to snuff with all of their latest and greatest cameras. So I'm not worried that they're not going to put this feature, that feature. We know that they're going to bring it up to par with the other cameras, but I would love to see them put some type of creative emphasis on the camera. I don't know if Sony's developing this or if they're interested in developing this. Yes, they have creative looks in the camera that will allow you to customize, you know, your images or your JPEGs and stuff like that to a degree, but I really wish that they would come out with something how Lumix does when it comes to real-time LUT. It makes using those cameras so much fun, being able to just go through these different LUTs and apply them. At least let us put the LUTs on photos. I would love to see something like that in freaking all of your cameras moving forward. And then I have a sneaky suspicion we're gonna get dual CF Express A card slots with the Sony a7 V. Now, there are some things that I would love to see that I don't think we're gonna get, and I'll fire off a few of those real quick. Sony, can we get built-in 32-bit float in the Sony a7 V? Or can we get built-in internal storage just in case we forget our memory cards? And while I'm at it, Sony, could you have the a7 V make me a cup of coffee because I want some? Anyways, I would love to know what y'all think about the upcoming Sony a7 V because, again, we know it's coming. I don't know when, I don't know what date, and I don't know what it's gonna have, but I think for it to be successful, that it needs these things we talked about along with all of your comments down in the comment section, which I will be down there reading those also. If you like this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you get notified when new videos go up. We almost at 100K. We got to keep pushing, keep going. I got 2 dope videos for you to watch after this video. If you want to see the new setup, there's a link at the end of this video. And also, if you really want the nitty-gritty details on why I sold my a7 IV for the Sony a7R V, I will also leave that at the end of the video. Until next time, I'm out of here. Tight Shirt Terry Warfield. Peace and chicken grease. I'm out, y'all. Much love. Peace.